contrary to popular belief, I am not an Xbox hater. I know a lot of people think that I'm overly hard on Xbox and things of that nature. People have actually accused me of grifting off of bad Xbox news, but I actually like Xbox. I want them to succeed. I want them to do good things within the video game industry. It's just when they make questionable decisions, I have to call that stuff out because I care. I want them to do well. Hell, yesterday, I only played my Xbox Series X. I booted up Forza Horizon 5 because there's a vehicle in that game that's very similar to a vehicle that I wanted on Carvana, and I wanted to test drive the vehicle. So I played around with that game all day, and then when I was done with that, I noticed that NBA 2K26 was on sale for $27.99 on the Xbox Series X, and I was like, hey, I want this game. I don't like the Switch 2 version of it because it's only 30 frames per second, so let me go ahead and pick this up. I play my Xbox a lot. It's just I have a lot of questions about their future and a lot of questions about the decisions that they make. Going into 2026 is going to be a very interesting year for Xbox. And I feel like we say that every year, but I feel like the battle lines have definitely been drawn more so in 2025 because there are good elements to Xbox in 2026, but there's a lot of uncertain elements of Xbox in 2026 that I think we're going to have to see how they play out. And I don't know if it's going to work out quite in their favor. So let's talk about Xbox in 2026. We'll talk about the good things coming. We'll talk about some of the more questionable things coming. And then give your thoughts in the comment section down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because I am an Xbox YouTuber. So from the positive perspective, I do think Xbox has quite a few positives. And that really boils down to software because, I mean, if the scheduled software that they're talking about comes out, this is going to be like a stacked year for the company. Obviously, you have Forza Horizon 6 coming out, finally taking place in Japan, which, I mean, that's huge. Forza Horizon is one of the most successful Xbox franchises, and rightfully so. They're super fun games. Like, I love playing Forza Horizon games, and the one thing that kind of lost me on the last Forza Horizon with Forza Horizon 5 was, you know, the setting that they did. I didn't really love it. But having Japan and having the windy, curvy roads and like a cityscape and stuff like that, that's going to bring this game to a whole nother level. People are going to want this game on not only the Xbox, but the PC and the PlayStation 5 as well. It does seem like it's going to be a staggered launch. It's going to come out on the Xbox first, which I think is a good, smart decision to do with stuff like that. But Forza Horizon 5 is definitely very high on my tier list. Obviously, you also have Gears of War E-Day coming out, which I'm super excited for. I think it looks great, brutal, gritty, violent, exactly what I want from a Gears of War game. And then you have some other things going on, like the Halo game that's coming out with the campaign and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm a Halo multiplayer fan. You know, all of my Halo gets done in a multiplayer gameplay setting, so I'm not super stoked on that, but I do understand that there are people with a lot of nostalgia for it. You have Fable allegedly happening as well. I don't think that's coming out in 2026. I mean, I just gotta be real with you guys. I don't even know if that game's ever gonna come out. I really think that there might be something going on more so than we're led to believe with this game. But, you know, stay positive. Hope that it does come out and stuff like that. Because I would like to play a new Fable game. You know, Fable 1 is a really fun game, even though Peter Molyneux lied out his ass about the things you'd be able to do in it. Of course, there are subsidiaries of Xbox working on things as well. Who knows what Bethesda is cooking up? I know Fallout 4 is getting like a quote-unquote remastered edition. I wasn't a huge fan of Fallout 4. You know, we'll probably get some more remakes and remasters, smaller studios, and the best part is a lot of these games are going to be on Xbox Game Pass. Hell, all of these games are going to be on Xbox Game Pass. And yes, Xbox Game Pass did go up in price. But still, as someone who reviews games and wants to be able to play these games and talk about them, like, it's still kind of worth it to me. I haven't canceled my Xbox subscription quite yet. And it kind of just depends on the rollout of games and what games are coming to the service. As long as they have a steady stream of first-party titles hitting the service, like, I'm cool because I don't want to buy these games, honestly. Like, a lot of these games are kind of questionable to me. You know, something like Avowed, I would have never played through Avowed if it didn't come out on Game Pass. And while I didn't love Avowed, like, I did have a fun enough time with it. I thought the gameplay was really good. Just that story was really crappy, and it's weird because it's an Obsidian game, and you would think there'd be a good story in an Obsidian game. But I do think the software lineup looks pretty beefy. And, of course, there are lots of things that we don't know about. I've probably forgotten some first-party Xbox games. Of course, you'll have a variety of different third-party games coming out on the system. So I think from a software perspective, you know, it looks like a strong year. Like, I think it looks like a good, solid year. And one of the better years for Xbox in recent memory. But then we got to get to the questionable stuff. And then we have to get to pretty much everything else involving Xbox, because the Series X and the Series S are not selling. More than likely, there's another price increase coming, and it does feel like Xbox has kind of moved on from the systems because everything is an Xbox. I still hate that marketing with a passion, because I feel like if everything is an Xbox, then nothing is an Xbox. Now, obviously, there are going to be extending titles to the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch 2 as well in 2026. Indiana Jones has been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's already released on the PlayStation 5. The Halo game is coming out on the PlayStation 5. Fallout is coming out on PlayStation 5 and Nintendo Switch 2. So they're definitely leaning into being able to play Xbox games on other platforms because, you know, they're marketing. They're like, oh, people should be able to play wherever they want to play and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, but then why would they want to buy your system if they could just play it on their system of choice to begin with? You're not really giving that sort of incentive. Now, I don't hate that move for Xbox because obviously a lot of software and hardware is not selling, but a lot of software and hardware is not selling because it feels like they didn't market it well enough and they kind of just turned their back on the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S. Obviously, they're leaning into these handheld PC gaming devices and stuff like that. And then the real elephant in the room is next generation hardware. Because I think we see that in 2026, and it might actually launch in 2026. And if it does, it's essentially going to be a Steam box after the Steam box comes out, but it also has Xbox integration in it. But then there's so many questions about that because I don't think you have the Xbox Marketplace alongside of Steam because all of those third-party games are going to be cheaper on something like Steam. You know, if it's essentially a Windows PC under your television with Xbox integration, much like we saw with the Asus ROG Xbox Ally, is that going to be attractive to people? Because a lot of people, even Xbox, you know, websites and YouTubers and stuff like that said, hey, this is a great handheld PC, but it's not an Xbox. Like it needs a lot of work to be, you know, more reminiscent of an Xbox console and an Xbox experience. You also have diminished consumer trust within the company as well. Obviously, you know, with a lot of their decisions, the price hikes, the closure and cancellation of studios and games. I'm still not over Perfect Dark. Like, how do you do Rare? Like, if you think about how they've handled Rare, it's absolutely amazing. Because obviously there was some stuff on the 360. Okay, whatever. I'm talking about a more modern time frame. You canceled Perfect Dark, you canceled Everwild, and obviously Rare wasn't working on Perfect Dark, but I'm sure, you know, it's still kind of tied into Rare as a Rare IP because Perfect Dark was initially done by Rare and Nintendo. So you canceled Everwild, which they were working on. And I get it. Sea of Thieves was a success. I will take my L on that. I'm actually featured in the Sea of Thieves documentary that they created. The people that made the game created. And I'm like, hey, you know, in 6 months, this game's going to be dead. And I mean, obviously it wasn't. So I'll take my L on that. I was wrong about Sea of Thieves. And, you know, I'm glad it ended up being successful for them. But one success story doesn't negate all the other issues going on within the company. And I do feel like we're getting to a point with Xbox now where, you know, consumer trust is at an all-time low. they'll say one thing and then they'll do something completely different. They'll say, oh, it's only 4 games coming. And then, no, it's not. It's a lot more than 4 games. And now you're going on to other systems and other platforms. You seem to be more focused on things that are not an Xbox that you're trying to make an Xbox, such as the PC and handheld gaming market, instead of actually focusing on Xbox brand as a console manufacturer. And I get it. You could talk about, diminishing returns with consoles and stuff like that. Well, with CPU and RAM prices going up at an alarming rate, obviously that's going to impact like all of these systems. You think the Asus ROG Xbox Ally isn't going to go up in price? You think the next gen Xbox isn't going to cost over $1,000? And if that's the case, like, what does that say about the Xbox brand? You're going to have to make up that money somewhere else. So you're going to charge more for Game Pass. You're going to close down more studios. You're going to focus more on AI and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. Xbox is kind of like the women I deal with. You get a lot of mixed signals. You think everything is cool, and then there's just like a sharp left turn, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? I didn't see that going to happen, and then it happens. Like I said at the start of the video, I want Xbox to succeed. I do not want PlayStation and Nintendo as the 2 console manufacturers. I don't want that, because competition is important, because competition creates, creativity. It creates, a desire and a success to do better. And when everyone's all kumbaya, holding hands, sitting around the fireplace, like, I don't like that. I don't like that from a consumer perspective, because at the end of the day, we all have to look at it from a consumer perspective, because that's what we are. We're consumers of Xbox products. And if we don't like what they're doing, I think you got to speak up about it. And the final thing is, where the hell is Phil? Has anyone seen Phil Spencer? That man hasn't uttered. He used to be on that interview tour. Now they throw poor Sarah Bond out there. They're like, yeah, you run Xbox now, and you do the interview circuit with various, websites and YouTube channels and stuff like that. It's like, where the hell's Fizz? Does he even work here anymore? Like, what is he doing? What is his job? Hey, he's running a business. Suck my ass, Major Nelson, clown. Anyways, guys, that's kind of my look at Xbox in 2026. I think from a hardware perspective, it's going to be a fun year. As long as everything comes out and doesn't get canceled or get delayed indefinitely, I think it's going to be a super fun year. I just think there are so many question marks leading into it, and I just don't know how it's going to play out. I just don't know if the moves that they're making are indeed the right moves for the Xbox brand. And some of that's coming from a selfish place, because I do want them to still be in the video game console landscape, and I still want them to be able to compete and, go out with a competitive product to, try and make people that buy PlayStation 5s buy an Xbox instead. But I just feel like that window is starting to close very rapidly. And I think it's closing because people like Satya Nadella are closing that window. So let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. I'm sure this will be a very interesting topic to discuss in the comments, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. In case you're wondering, yes, I did get that car off of Carvana because of the Forza Horizon 5 test drive. I mean, why not, right? So it'll be here Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to it. It's my Christmas gift to myself, essentially. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later. Oh, wait, one more thing. Why is Forza not on the Nintendo Switch 2? Have you looked at the Nintendo Switch 2? There are, like, no good racing sims beyond Grid. And, like, Grid is cool for what it is, but I want a game that has, like, a large variety of cars. I want a Gran Turismo or a Forza-style game on the platform. What are you doing, Xbox? You want to put everything onto every console. You want to have this, play our games anywhere. I can't play Forza on the Switch 2. Do you know what a barren landscape of any sort of racing simulations style games. And Forza Horizon is very arcadey, but at least it still has real cars in it, and it's not some weird slop that some company like Midnight Games put out there where they lied to you about what the game looks like on the screenshots and in the trailer, and then when you actually play the game, it looks nothing like that. Put it on Nintendo Switch 2. Later.